Here on the stage at the Heartland Cafe, it's Michael James with Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and we're talking about the world. We're talking about Congress. We're talking about what's going on. And but Jan, let's look at Congress a little bit.
Do we have to?
We have to, because Katie Hogan, our good friend and the co-host of the show, sent me an email this morning from Costa Rica. She said, just how many of the 435 congresspersons would you call decent and in touch with everyday Americans?
Well, I do actually have a couple of friends on the Republican side. Here's what's going on. The Congress right now, unbelievably, only about 25 members of Congress out of 435 are in truly swing districts.
Yeah.
You know, where they could go either way, where people worry about a challenge from the other party. The Republicans focused so much on 2010. We didn't as much. On electing state legislatures.
Yeah, we're going to get to 2014, too.
On electing governors in a redistricting year. So what we have now in the House of Representatives are large numbers of Republicans who worry about primary elections from the right. Believe it or not, that there's still, no matter how far right you think people have gone, they're worried about someone even further to the right.
And most of these are states that were former Confederate states. Not all, but there's an awful lot of these red states are down south.
Well, that's right. In fact, in the Northeast, there aren't any more Republicans. Every state now, it's Democrats. At least in New England, that's true.
Yep.
So we've got a very weak Speaker of the House, John Boehner, who's having a very hard time controlling his caucus. It's partly his fault and partly not, because these people seriously are willing to bring the country down. And when we talk about the debt ceiling, I think that some of those people actually are willing to risk the full faith and credit of the United States of America.
Yeah, they don't seem like they're comprehensive in their thinking. You know, it's like it's kind of like maybe we were when we were young and radical. You know, the world is a little more complicated.
For yourself. But meantime, they did not get elected, in their view, to compromise.
Right.
This has become a dirty word. So I have to say that the vote to raise taxes on the very wealthy and to extend the middle class tax cuts, I am hoping that going forward will be a kind of template on how we can actually get things passed. John Boehner called the bill that passed the Senate with 89 votes. Almost everybody voted to raise taxes, even though we were hoping for people above 250,000. It went up to 400 and 450,000. But John Boehner called the bill. So people, Republicans who felt they had to vote no, voted no. But with the majority of the Democrats, almost all the Democrats, voting in favor of it, we were able to pass the bill. If this is the model for how we go forward in dealing with sequester, with the debt ceiling, with the continuing resolution, those are like the three cliffs we face, that will be fine. But the other thing that is so surprising is the anger, the fierceness, the demonization of poor people that you see on the other side, the anger and the venom and the hatred of Barack Obama. I have not experienced that. I just entered my 8th term of Congress, so I've been there. I'm going into my 15th year now. Never have I seen that before the 2010 election. It was, we had a good couple of years. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker, Barack Obama, the President. But after that, just so angry.
Yeah. Jan, let's keep going on issues in the Congress. Let's just talk about guns. What's your take on, are we going to get any legislation through, or is the president going to be able to use presidential authority on this, as well as in maybe on the debt ceiling. They're talking about him putting out a coin. Some people say it'll be big as a bunch of whales or a submarine. That could be any little size. And what's your take on that?
Well, first of all, my staff said, "Don't give it to Jan; she'll lose it." Like, where is that? I had it right here.
I'm looking for that.
That $1 trillion coin. It was right here. Anyway, that's kind of a crazy idea, but I think it's posed even to say that it's crazier yet to say that we wouldn't pay the bills that are already incurred. What the American people have to understand, this is, you get your credit card bill, and it's like saying, I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to do that.
I tried that.
And expecting no consequences, right? You get late payments, you get phone calls, your credit rating can go down. And on a global scale, that's what will happen. There will be serious consequences. So on guns, I think that it's a new day. It really
seems like it.
This is different from Aurora, even from Columbine, where there is a moment right now where people are sensitized. One of the really good things that has come out of this debate around guns is a focus on the National Rifle Association and distinguishing its membership.
That was great. I saw a guy on MSNBC talking about members. 74% of the members, they're okay with some changes.
Exactly. We can find common ground here with gun owners. CNN did a poll. 95% of Americans believe in universal background checks, which actually would make a difference. 40% of all guns sold in this country, no background check.
Right.
And so we need to embrace gun owners and sportsmen and moms and grandmas to demand of the Congress to do these sensible things. Who the heck needs a weapon, a military-style weapon that can spray 100 bullets in a matter of seconds, or these huge magazine clips,
big clips
that again 100 bullets at Newtown, the Sandy Hook School, in less than a minute. And in less than a minute, all of that horror was accomplished, and so I think that we're going to be able to move forward. However, we have yet to hear a Republican in the House of Representatives say, "I will support that. I will support that." So I think we're going to have to mobilize around this in a big way. And let me also just say, the NRA has kind of helped us. Wayne LaPierre
It's terrible.
in that press conference, and then some of these guys who are saying, I'm ready to kill somebody if they try and take my gun away, that we've seen on television. That does not mainstream. This does not represent the American people, even hunters and gun owners and NRA members.
Well, on that issue and a lot of others, we really have to keep the pressure on. And I'm going to try to get to a little bit later how we best push our president on a number of issues. But while we're focusing on the Congress, I'm going to hit three real quickly. They're important to a lot of people in this room and beyond. Immigration, women's reproductive rights. Debbie Wasserman sent out a notice yesterday to everyone on whatever list I'm on that basically talked about all these bills that are attacking women's rights, and also gay marriage. So immigration, women and women's reproductive rights, and gay marriage.
Well, let me just say that progressives, think about this. That issues that used to be big wedge issues for Democrats increasingly are becoming wedge issues for Republicans.
Yeah.
It's really true. We're not quite totally there, but you take the issue of gay marriage, where I have rarely in my life as an activist seen such a rapid sea change that has actually resulted in changes in legislation, mainly at the state level, of course. But I think that there's an inevitability short term about resolving this issue The president has said that he will not defend DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, any longer. I really think that we're going to see progress, certainly in gay rights and in marriage equality as well.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's here. You know,
Let's hear it
it's
for
here.
that.
It's here. It's here. Yeah. You know, and it's a generational issue in many ways too.
And there's
Young
a lot of young people coming on up.
Could care less, or are actively supporting it. So,
and that's challenging the Republicans, that they, any young Republicans even, they try to leave out these issues when they talk to other people, but they're not solidly conservative on these issues.
Here in Illinois, well, the chairman of the Republican Party, they're calling on him to resign because he said he was for the gay marriage bill in the state of Illinois. The chairman of Brady, a guy named Brady, said, all these Neanderthals are saying get rid of them. So definitely, immigration. The thing that's helping to drive the immigration issue is the last election, where the demographics are going to leave the Republican as a shrinking party, which it really is. The base of the party is shrinking. We won, that is, Democrats won this huge percentage of Asians and Hispanics in the last election.
Not to mention African Americans.
African Americans came out in greater numbers as a percentage than whites. A lot of people say, time. Yes. I mean, amazing turnout of, Democrats. So this is going to fuel a move toward immigration reform. But here's the issue. The prize is citizenship. And you will see, I'm sure, the Republicans come up with everything short of that. A liberal guest worker program where people can go back and forth, where they can get work permits, where they can get legalization, but short of citizenship. That's I think the final battle, and it's a battle I believe that we will win.
We'll probably win it, and as long as they hold on to that position, it will probably secure the Latino vote more in the Democratic camp.
That's right.
One last thing before we take another break: women and women's reproductive rights in the Congress.
Yeah. Well, Republicans clearly have a women problem, and well deserved. They continue to say they're the party of ending deficits and fiscal responsibility, and yet the first bills they introduced, Paul Ryan introduced a personhood bill as the first bill that he introduced, so that we can call a fetus would have the same rights as a living person, and would then, of course, ban the whole issue. Abortions would be banned. They can't seem to help themselves and continue to disrespect women and women's health and women's decision making. We saw that gender gap in the election, because I'll tell you, I spoke to a number of Republican women who said, I have been a Republican my whole life. No more. I cannot vote Republican because of this radical position on contraception. On contraception even. It's unbelievable. And so I think this is a serious problem for them, an advantage for Democrats, and a rallying point for women and everyone who supports women's rights.
You're listening to the Live from the Heartland show, brought to you every Saturday morning on WLUW 88.7 Chicago Sound Alliance. You can listen online at WLUW.org, and you can listen to this and actually watch it at youtube.com/Heartland Media. It'll be up in a few days. When Paul Wozniak, who is one of our